So now that I have emptied the van of all the stuff that was in it, you have to excuse this look, but it's so hot. So now, as we can see now, it's going to be a case of taking up the wooden battens that are still fixed, which are these ones here, and then bringing up the vapor barrier that's been put down. And that's mainly because that's not what we want to pop onto the floor. So this was done by the people that we have bought it from, and some of the prep work that they had done. But one of the things that we would like to do is we want to be able to put the battens down, and we're going to Celotex the floor and then put plywood on top, and then obviously the flooring. Sorry, let's do the other side. Hit a slight snag, let me show you. Okay, so in here, this bolt in here, you're probably not going to be able to see, but it's sheared, so this one is not undoing, which is a bit of a pain. And this one here, this is in the way of being able to do this. We might have to try and do this one manually. Right, this one here is sheared off. So how am I going to get that one out?
Is that one or that one?
That one.
I don't know. Let's get a... Yeah, you just get through this one.
Okay, and this one, this is in the way.
What?
This is in the way, so I can't reach the thingy without the risk of...
Let's get a hand screwdriver and use the hand screw on it.
So there are a couple of things that can be really frustrating when you really want to do a van conversion and you have your van. Well, if you have circumstances like ours, that is, that once you've got it, you really just want to be able to get on and do it. But for us, everything is being done on a budget. And that also means that there are certain things that need to be made, or the decisions need to be made as we're going along. Number one is actually the seating. So there are a number of different options. We can get a seating frame and then create the seats ourselves, which would be the most ideal situation because it would give us the most flexibility, but it's also the most expensive way for us to be able to do it. We can also purchase the seats already that have got the seat belts. We know that they're crash tested, all of that type of thing. Great. But that also leaves us with another decision. Do we have a layout that means that we have 3 across and less room to walk around, so compromising width? Or do we have a 2x2 solution, meaning we're compromising on length? So we have 3 seats at the front. Let me just turn this around. So we've got 3 seats at the front, as you can see, and we will make these ones captain chairs so that they can swivel around. And then ideally, it would be great to have 3 seats coming across and then a table in the centre so we can utilise the maximum amount of the length of the van as possible. But of course that comes with other challenges. So namely that there will be a height difference between the seats that the girls will be sitting on and also the front seats, especially when we turn them into captain seats. So therefore, needing to look at a situation where you're hiring the seats. Now actually one of my thought processes, and it's just a thought process at this moment in time, is actually to hire the floor anyway and create some underfloor storage, if you like. Things like a pull-out section to be able to put our shoes when we're entering into the van. So let me just show you. Now obviously I'm not as tall as Mark. Can you see how much height room there is? I'll wait until Mark's here and then he can do the same. But even though Mark is 6'3", there's still quite a bit of headroom. So yes, of course we're going to be utilising space like up here, for example. Let me just turn this here. Up here, for example, for cupboards and that type. But when it comes to things like shoes, just some of those like little things that you might want to tuck away, I just wonder if we can hire the floor somewhat so that we could utilise maybe that space and maybe make some like cubby hole type storage places. I'm not 100% sure. This is a work in progress. So that's kind of where we're at. We do have some good news though. We have managed to secure purchasing an oven and also a fridge, both of them 12 volt. They are both brand new, never been used, but they are second-hand purchases. So people that have either had them because they bought other projects and they don't personally need them. That's really great for us because it's like a huge saving. But they're still brand new, which is really cool. So I can't wait to get those. We'll be picking those up tomorrow, I think, and maybe Tuesday or Thursday. So that's quite good. That makes a start. Other things that we want to think about: electrics. It's a little bit of a shame that some of this and vapor lining has already been done. Now, yes and no to that. So let me just explain. Of course, you don't want your wiring to go behind that because what it means is that you wouldn't be able to access any of the wiring should you need to do any repairs to it or any changes. However, yes, in the respect of thinking about things like your mains outlet, any of those types of things, which would have been much easier to have identified where that's going to be positioned before all this was in. So that's another aspect that we need to work around and work out. As far as the electrics goes, we will be using 3 ways of being able to recharge our batteries. They will be solar panels because we want to be able to be off-grid as much as possible. That's really important to us as a family. So solar panels. The next one is the charging from the alternator. And sometimes or the battery. So it's either charged from the battery of your vehicle or the alternator as you're driving. Don't ask me the technical stuff. You can already tell I'm not that adverse with all the techno stuff. And then, of course, the third way is through mains electric. So a hookup when you go to a campsite, that type of thing, which of course we will be doing, but we want to be able to wild camp as much as possible, just to add to our experiences, and also to keep the costs down as we are travelling around the UK. So those are the electrics. When it comes to electrics, probably the biggest other decision to make when we're thinking about budget and what we need is lithium batteries versus AGM batteries. So your leisure batteries can only run to 50% capacity, whereas lithium batteries can run to a lot more. You can almost get them down to, I think it's like 30%. Lithium batteries are a lot lighter. The AGM leisure batteries are a lot heavier. However, lithium batteries are a lot more costly. So you're looking a lot of the time when you're on a budget as to what is really important to you and what are you willing to compromise on. Now, there may be certain things that we can do as upgrades as we go along, but one of the biggest challenges that we're already going to have in this van is weight. There are 6 of us. As you can already tell, not exactly the slimmest person in the world, and neither is Mark. We will be working on that, by the way. Oh, I think it will happen anyway throughout the build, but it is something we're consciously working on. But also we have to think that there are 6 people in this van. There will be things like a toilet and a shower. That's a non-compromisable part of the van that we need because we're going to be living in it. We need to have certain aspects that will make the livability in it as easy as possible. We're going to need storage, water, for example. You want to be thinking about that. Gas, all of these things add up in terms of weight. And those things, unless we're going to have something like a recirculating shower, which we've thought about, that would reduce the need to carry so much water. It would just increase the need to be able to top that water up, I guess, on a weekly basis. Now, there's much for a muchness on that, because either way, if we were storing the water, we would still need to probably top that up at least on a weekly basis anyway. So those are things of considerations. Cool. Well, Mark is here now, so I'm going to get him to step in and see about the height difference, or what I was talking about with regards to the floor. So I'm just going to show you the height. So as I said, Mark is 6'3", and there's still a lot of headroom there. So even if we raise the floor, I mean, of course we've still got to put the roof and everything, so obviously that's going to take some space, but even if we raise the floor a little bit, we've still got enough room even for somebody as tall as Mark. So that's just a consideration from a design perspective that we're considering right now. Then we have to think about the practicalities and how that's going to work and that type of stuff. So it's probably what we're going to be discussing right now, actually. Hello. So I thought I'd give you an update after Mark's and my discussion yesterday about the van. So we're still not sure about raising the floor in certain places. It's still a consideration. But what we have thought is that really the thing that we need to be able to do first of all is we are going to continue on with the vapor barrier around the wheel arches, redoing some of the floor. So there's quite a few holes. So we need to prep the floor for that and, make good, basically, some of the holes that are currently there, because we had to bring up the battens, and the battens have been screwed into the floor. So that's one thing that we need to do. So we're going to continue doing that first of all. We still haven't made a decision with regards to the seating. That's like an ongoing back and forth with regards to that. Although what we have got is collecting the fridge today. And then the oven is getting collected, I think, on Wednesday. I have had someone else get back to me with regards to some seating. So we may go forward with that. That's been a backwards and forwards. I think we originally wanted to pick them up on Sunday. So one of the biggest frustrations when you're purchasing items from other people is the fact that you're on their timescale, not yours. And sometimes the communication can be prolonged, shall we say. So yeah, that can be a slight issue. That's kind of where we're at. It's really slow progress, really slow. I tell you, one of the things that has been so invaluable up until now though is 3D van space, or van space 3D. 3D van space, I think it's called. I'll tell you what I do. I will add in a little bit of a video now as to what that is and how that's been working for us. An insight, if you like, as to where we're coming up with the design ideas and how we're trying to work that through. So welcome to Van Space 3D. This has been an absolute game changer for us. You will find this is just the dashboard, but you've got tutorials, so it will help you to know how to use it. There's also a gallery giving you some ideas, and there's also a community here as well. So we've done a number of different ones of these. I'm just going to pick the one I've aptly named this one. What you'll find is that there are a number of presets in terms of the vans that are available for you to be able to do. And I'll show you that in just a second. But I thought it'd be easier to show you one that I'd already been designing. Now, you can download this onto a number of different devices. I can't remember if there was a restriction, but I'll pop this all into a blog post and give you a little bit more detail as well. It does take a little while to load, which is one of the downsides, but as long as you can be patient, then that's all cool. So actually, this is not one of the latest ones that I've done. Go on to here. So one of the great things about this is that you're able to have a lot more control as to what colors your walls are and all of that type of thing on here as well. So you can see that I've chosen a dark floor, but light wood floor walls, and then a slightly different color for the ceiling. So you've got a lot of scope that you can do this with. You can also turn this around. Now, you do have to excuse me because I tend to do this on 2 different computers, and there's different settings for each one. So let me just move my Zoom stuff out of the way. I find it much easier using this on my laptop than I do on my desktop, but that's just me personally. That's only because I've got a trackpad mouse on my laptop as opposed to a physical mouse on my computer, which is the part that's causing me a little bit of a part to try and remember how to use that. So give me 1 second. Okay, so as you can see, I can turn this around, I can look inside. There's so many different aspects. You can have the bulkhead, which is this section here, either on and off. So you just click onto the van settings, and then you'll see here that you can toggle things on and off to make it easier for you to be able to see if you're getting things in alignment. As you can see that this one is sticking outside the van, so there would be a little bit of an adaptation that you would need to make in terms of that, if that's the design that you wanted to go with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can do one from scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new van. And like I said, you can search for so many different varieties of vans. They've already got the presets in here. I'm going to set ours as we've bought an Iveco Daily. Now, I know mine is an L5H3. Basically, this is an extra long wheelbase and it's also extra high. So this is the variety that we have. Now that I've got this one, you can see that it's literally just a shell. So I can show you right from the start. You might want to change how this is. So we want to go to materials and colors. And what I'm probably going to do is change the walls first of all, when it stops having this little wheel going around. And that's just basically loading all of the colors. And what's quite nice about this is that you really get to have a different feel as to how the ambience of your van conversion will feel with the different colors added to it. So there we go. Just really as simple as that. I'll just choose this one for now and we'll do this one for the floor. And I'll leave that for the ceiling. Cool. When it comes to adding furniture, again, super simple. You just click on the furniture section and there's already a number of different pieces of furniture and things that you can put on for yourself. So let's just say that we're going to do a seat, and you can also search It's not, you can search for it, or you can just take it out and then scroll and find what it is that you're looking for. I'm probably scrolling really too quick, so let me slow that down. So you can see numerous different beds. You've got your shower parts, you've got toilets, you've got corner units, you've got seating areas. There's so many different things in here. I highly recommend that you just spend a bit of time when you first look at this, just familiarizing yourself with the different options. I'm going to choose this one here, and I'm going to put this one at the back. But one of the most important parts about your van is that, of course, things might be in a different direction for you. So I'm just going to turn this one around, and we're going to have the open section towards the back. And then these arrows here mean that you can change the direction. So as you can see, it's really easy to be able to do that. What's also really important about this is that, let's say that you wanted to create a slightly different dimension. Just at the top under your transform, you've got a scale. It tells you the width, the height, and the depth. And you can change these. You can also change these under settings. Can either be in imperial or it can be in metric. Personally, I tend to still work in imperial. Maybe that's just my old age. That's also from being I used to teach a lot in scrapbooking, and we always used inches and everything in that. So I'm just used to it. So much different scope for you to be able to add into here and to be able to do that. The couple of different things that I find a little bit frustrating is I really wish you could use layers for this. Now, under electricity, it does say that it's in beta. And so I'm presuming that this is something that is also getting improved. And it would be great to be able to have layers so that you could see where your electrics are and where your plumbing is. And then you could layer your furniture and everything else on top of that. So that I find a little bit frustrating right now. But really, for what I want it for and for what I want to be able to try and create, it's actually really, really useful, as it just means that I can really try and scope out how I want things to be. It's really helped us to define whether we wanted to have a 3x3 seating area as opposed to a 2x2 versus a 3 seating area. So a lot of these things really helped us to navigate that and see how that would be. And the fact that I can then turn this around all the time and that I can be seeing how that looks is really helpful. What you might have also seen in one of the other designs that I did is that I had people in the van. And this just gave me a really good indication as to size. So for example, if I just put this one in here, then it really gives me a good indication in terms of width and how wide we're doing things for being able to move around the van. Now, of course, everybody else's size is different, but it's a really good indication anyway. And of course, don't forget, you can scale the size of the person, so you can get really specific. There are also accessories in here, so it's really good to be able to try and help scale that out. Let's maybe say that you're going to have someone that's going to be drinking, let's just put this here so I can drag it up. Maybe you're going to have like a little bit of celebration and a nice glass of wine. So let's move this around, make sure that we can get it on the table properly. So there we go. Now I've got that onto the table. So you know, you can really get a great idea about this. You can add in so many different accessories, your lights, like I said, your kitchen, your shower. I do highly recommend it. Like I mentioned, there's just a few little things I think would make it better, but maybe they're to come. We'll see. What I will do is I will do a full blog post on this, giving you a lot more detail, information about prices, all of that type of stuff. And what I will do is I'll pop that in the link in the description below. But hopefully you found that useful.